In 1979, one of America's closest allies in the Middle East fell in a matter of weeks. The Shah of Iran, backed by Washington for decades, fled his country as millions filled the streets demanding his head. What followed would reshape the entire region and create an enmity between Iran and America that burns to this day. In this video, I use modern AI tools to reconstruct Tehran during the Iranian Revolution, from the glittering excess of the Shah's regime to the fury that consumed it. This is the story of how a king lost everything and an Ayatollah changed the world. Tehran in the 1970s was a city of contradictions. Under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran had become a modernizing powerhouse. Skyscrapers rose alongside ancient bazaars. Women in miniskirts walked streets where their grandmothers had worn chadors. The oil money flowed, and the Shah spent it on fighter jets, nuclear ambitions, and a lavish celebration at Persepolis that cost $200 million. But behind the glamour lurked Savak, the secret police whose torture chambers silenced anyone who dared to dissent. Tehran was really two cities. In the north, in neighborhoods like Shemiran and Niavaran, the elite lived in villas with swimming pools and servants. They sent their children to European schools, vacationed on the French Riviera, and spoke French at dinner parties. The Shah's court was a world of champagne, caviar, and Western decadence that would have impressed any European aristocracy. But travel south, past the bazaar, and Tehran transformed. Here, millions lived in crowded slums without running water. Families who had migrated from villages seeking opportunity found only poverty. The oil wealth that built palaces in the north never reached the south. Inflation ate their wages. Housing was impossible to afford, and every day they watched the rich drive past in Mercedes while they struggled to feed their children. The mullahs in the mosques spoke to these people. They preached that the Shah had sold Iran to America, that Western culture was corrupting Islamic values, that the growing gap between rich and poor was an offense against God. In the south of Tehran, people listened, they remembered, and they waited. One voice rose above all others, even from exile. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini had been expelled from Iran in 1964 after denouncing the Shah. From Iraq, then Paris, his sermons were recorded on cassette tapes and smuggled into Iran by the thousands. In living rooms and mosques across the country, Iranians listened to the old cleric call for revolution. By 1978, the protests had begun. In January, a government newspaper published an article insulting Khomeini. Theological students in Qom took to the streets. Police fired on them, killing several. The traditional 40-day mourning period brought new protests, which brought new deaths, which brought new mourning, which brought new protests. The cycle of rage was feeding itself. The Shah tried reform. He dismissed his prime minister, he promised free elections, he released political prisoners, but it was too late. The people no longer wanted reform. They wanted him gone. Strikes spread across the country. Oil workers walked off the job, crippling the economy. Bazaar merchants closed their shops. By fall, millions were marching in the streets, shouting a single word: revolution. September 8, 1978, Black Friday. The Shah declared martial law, but word did not reach everyone. Thousands gathered in Jaleh Square in Tehran. Soldiers opened fire. The exact death toll remains disputed, from dozens to hundreds, but the political impact was absolute. Any possibility of compromise died in Jaleh Square. The protests only grew larger. In December, during the holy month of Muharram, millions filled the streets of Tehran in the largest demonstrations in Iranian history. They wore white shrouds to show they were ready to die. They carried photographs of Khomeini. They set fire to banks, cinemas, and anything that symbolized the West or the Shah. The military began to crack. Soldiers refused to fire on crowds that included their own families. Entire units defected to the revolution. The Shah, weakened by the cancer he had hidden from his people, could not decide whether to unleash total repression or flee. His American allies sent mixed signals. The peacock throne was crumbling, and everyone could see it. On January 16, 1979, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi left Iran. Officially, it was a vacation. Everyone knew he would never return. At the airport, he was photographed carrying a box of Iranian soil. Tears in his eyes. The man who had ruled for 37 years, who had dreamed of restoring Persian greatness, was now a refugee. Tehran exploded in celebration. Crowds danced on the streets, toppling statues of the Shah, renaming streets and squares. Strangers embraced, weeping with joy. The hated monarch was gone. After decades of repression, the people had won. But the revolution was not yet complete. The Shah's Prime Minister, Shah still held nominal power. The military remained intact, and 3,000 miles away in Paris, an 76-year-old cleric was preparing to board a plane. The real transformation of Iran was about to begin. On February 1st, 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini's plane landed in Tehran. Millions lined the route from the airport, the largest welcoming crowd in human history. When asked by a journalist on the plane what he felt returning to Iran after 15 years of exile, Khomeini answered with one word: nothing. It was a sign of the cold, uncompromising nature of the man who would reshape Iran. Within days, the last remnants of the old regime collapsed. Street fighting broke out between revolutionary forces and the Imperial Guard. Military leaders declared neutrality, then surrendered. Bakhtiar fled. On February 11th, the revolution was complete. Khomeini moved quickly to establish an Islamic Republic. A referendum in March approved the new system by 98%. The constitution placed supreme power in the hands of religious clerics, with Khomeini as supreme leader for life. Women were ordered to wear hijab. Western music was banned. The liberal and leftist groups who had helped make the revolution found themselves sidelined, then imprisoned, then executed. On November 4th, 1979, revolutionary students stormed the American embassy in Tehran. They took 52 American diplomats hostage, demanding the Shah be returned to face trial. The Shah was in New York receiving cancer treatment. The hostage crisis would last 444 days, humiliating the United States and defining the relationship between the two nations for decades to come. President Jimmy Carter's failed rescue attempt, Operation Eagle Claw, ended in disaster in the Iranian desert, killing 8 American servicemen. The hostages were finally released on January 20th, 1981, minutes after Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, a final insult to Carter. America had never experienced such a prolonged public humiliation. The Iran that emerged from 1979 was a new kind of state, an Islamic Republic that rejected both Western capitalism and Soviet communism. A revolutionary power that supported militant groups across the Middle East, an enemy of America that chanted "Death to America" as official policy. The alliance that had once made the Shah Washington's closest partner in the region became a hostility that has never healed. Standing here looking back at these scenes, it is impossible not to see 1979 as the year everything changed. The students who stormed the embassy are now elderly. The revolutionaries who dreamed of a new Iran have seen their children and grandchildren take to the streets demanding change themselves. But the hostility born in 1979 between Tehran and Washington, between the Islamic Republic and the West, still shapes our world today. Every headline about Iran, every threat and sanction and confrontation traces back to this moment, this year, this revolution. If there's another moment in history you'd like to see reconstructed, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.